So, should Christian dating couples travel together? Now, I'm not talking about like a quick trip, turnaround trip where you gonna go somewhere for a day and go back. If you can like run to the beach and then come back or something like that. I'm talking about like vacation. I'm talking about for like days at a time where you have to get a hotel room, you gotta sleep, y'all gotta figure all that kind of stuff out as Christians who are seeking to honor God in every single part of your life. Is that something you should do? Is that something you're allowed to do? Is that something that's wise to do? On this episode of the Men to Men podcast, we're going to talk about that question. Me and my two friends, Raph and Micah, are going to dive into how this looked for our lives personally and some advice that could possibly help you as you seek to honor God in your dating relationship. All that coming up. Let's get it. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is James Howard Jr., and you're tuned in to another episode of the Men to Men podcast. This podcast is all about helping men honor God in every single part of their lives. So if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, I want you to consider subscribing. And if you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify or any other audio platform, I want you to go ahead and give this podcast a follow, share with a friend, and possibly leave a comment or a review letting us know how you like this podcast so we can get this out to more men around the world so they can honor God in every single part of their lives. And so today's subject, y'all, I mean, it can be a little tricky. It really can be, because here's the thing, like as a Christian who is dating, you are a grown man, right? You are a grown person, according to the world, according to the things that maybe your friends say, and maybe maybe even your girl may say. Hey, it's all right for us to do things like travel together. It's okay for us to spend the night together. It's okay for us to do what we want to do because we've grown. But if you're here and you're this far into the video, you're probably seeking to honor God in every single part of your life, and you're really trying to figure this thing out, right? Like, is this something that I should be doing? Is it just unnecessary temptation? Is it okay? Is it not a big deal? Y'all, listen, this is what we're gonna talk about today, and y'all, I got a good conversation with my friends Raph and Micah as we continue on this series, on this theme of dating and dating in a God-honoring way. So without further ado, let's jump into this episode of the Men to Men podcast. Should Christian dating couples travel together?
That was something that me and my girlfriend, my wife now, but my girlfriend and then my fiance, like we kind of had to, right? So like for those that don't know, my wife is not from America. She's originally from the Caribbean. And so we started dating in February 2014, right? And so I mean, I knew I wanted to marry her that September, right? So I was like, I'm already thinking of like, okay, how do I get a ring? I've talked to her parents and stuff on the phone. Never met them in person. But we had decided, you know what I'm saying, that Christmas, that December 2014, that I was gonna go home with her to meet her parents and the rest of her family, see where she came from, all of that stuff, and I was gonna ask for her parents' blessing. Well, she didn't know that at the time, but I was gonna ask for her parents' blessing to marry her. And so that trip, that Christmas, like that was like our first time like traveling, and we had to travel together. And I would say, like, if I would say that it is, again, it's a permissible thing, but I would say protect yourself at all costs. And learning from my mistake, right? Um, because when we were traveling, like we slept in the same like room. It was kind of like we were married already, and that clearly presents
What's that clapping
a lot of trouble, especially when you talk about sexual integrity. We didn't have sex,
Praise God.
but
Amen.
man, I wanted to, and it was not easy to be in the same room with her, be in the same bed. Like I always say, man, if you're gonna travel with the person that you're dating, man, go above and beyond. Go get a separate hotel room. Don't share keys. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's act like you normally would. Like if we were back in Hattiesburg, we would most of the time I would be at her apartment, and at a certain time I would go home. You know what I'm saying? Like I would not like stay there like super late, like that type of thing. So like, but whenever it was I don't know, man. I feel like that trip to Antigua for Christmas, like even the trip was almost like a mood setter. Like it was like setting the mood because we had a layover in Puerto
Mm.
Rico. And it's
Oh,
like, man, we in beautiful Puerto
yeah.
Rico. So this feel like a vacation. You know what I'm
Like a
saying? This all
Hallmark movie.
yeah, this feels like a pre-honeymoon. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like, man, we in a hotel room. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, oh man, like this ain't good. You know what I'm saying? So I would say, man, go above and beyond. Stay in separate rooms. Don't share keys. Like act like you at home.
So what do you think so far, man? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have some advice that maybe you can give to kind of add on to the conversation? Well, if you do, I want you to go ahead and leave a comment down below in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. My goal is to try to build a community through this YouTube channel that can help you, that can help other men around the world honor God in every single part of their lives. So go ahead and leave a comment down below, and yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll jump back into the video right now. Let's go.
Yeah, I think I would answer similar. I don't think I disagree with anything that you shared. I mean, it depends on what the traveling looks like. If they're doing it together alone, as a pastor, I don't know if I would counsel any of my members that are dating to go alone. Or, I mean, if they
Yeah.
do go along, kind of to your point, Mike, I never thought about that. Like, it might cost you a little more, but it's worth the sacrifice of buying 2 rooms and ensuring like that there are proper boundaries in place that are going to keep you from doing things, because you're in a new area, and like you said, I mean, it sets the tone, it sets a field, and it's like, man, I ain't got as much accountability in Puerto Rico, you know what I mean? I can, won't it'll only be between us and God, and it's like, yeah,
What happens in
hey,
Puerto Rico
hey,
stay in
and we
Puerto
Right.
just
Rico.
be,
They'll never
man,
know.
they'll
They'll
never know.
never know.
And we be willing to
They're gone now.
compromise, man, in so many ways. And I think, obviously, like, trips with other, people, I think are good. But yeah, at that point, it's like, man, y'all trying to live like a married couple, and if that's the case, get married. Like, stop playing. Which, I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes I guess friends want to go places, but I think as long as it's like in the context of other people are around, and accountability, boundaries are set, then it might be permissible. But is it beneficial? And again, it's a matter of like, man, you got to know yourself, and you got to be known. Like, you got to bring people in, and for them to be aware, and also for them to know your vices, and what leads you to temptation. Because I think it's one thing to, for me, an accountability, to be like, hey brothers, pray for me. But then it's another thing to say, hey brothers, I need you to pray for me in this specific area, and usually I need you to
Mhm.
check in on me when a lot is happening in life. I'm busy and I feel like I gotta do everything. Like, these are times when I need you not just to hit me up, like, hey, what's up,
Yeah.
so I think the level of accountability has to be different, and it has to be more intentional than just I'll be praying for you bros, y'all go on that trip to Puerto Rico. Like, nah, like, hey
Yeah.
bro, what's up, where y'all at, what y'all doing, where she at, how close is she, just really getting it. Like, you got to set them boundaries, bro, if you gonna
Right.
make it work. But I wouldn't attempt to try to make that work. And I think it's the appearance too. Like, we gotta also not think about only ourselves and others, but also like think about what this does to our testimony, like for other people
Yeah.
that are watching. And so, like, if there's this appearance, it's like, man, I don't want any type of appearance. I want to do everything that I can within my ability to show, like, hey, like, I am following the Lord as faithfully as I can, and I am not trying to get as close to the line. I realize that
Yeah.
God has set me apart, and I'm called to live set apart. So let me not be okay with this. I think the culture has said, like, ain't nothing wrong with that. And we've kind of bought into
Right.
that lie and said, oh, ain't nothing wrong with that. When really, like, that's right where the enemy wants us. Like, yeah, agree with
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's good. Like, and it'd be like, man, I could have saved myself a lot of heartache.
I would say, man, as we wrap up, man, I would say, I asked the question why. Like, what's like why? And like you said, there are some situations like with Micah, your girl was from out of the country, y'all did it and y'all made it work. But y'all, y'all set up those boundaries and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But if you just want to travel for just traveling's sake, or because you want it for the gram, so y'all can take pictures on the beach together, or just so y'all can maybe kind of put yourself in a situation where you may accidentally slip up, like your intentions though, right? It boils back to knowing yourself, and having healthy boundaries. And for some of y'all out there, like that don't even need to be an option. Like it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I say, man, if you travel, you go travel with
Yeah.
groups, travel with people like you said, Ralph, who know
Yep.
you, who really know
Yep.
you. And you know, if it's a whole bunch of dudes and girls, like y'all all holding each other accountable, y'all all know, hey, at 11 o'clock, man, we all need to be in our rooms. Dudes go to one room, girls go to another room. And so it's the unique situations, man. But at the end of the day, like, what are your
Yeah.
intentions? What boundaries do you have set, and what are you doing to make sure that you are honoring yourself, honoring that person, and honoring God at the core of it all? And if you traveling, it is going to lead to you not doing that, then it just may not be the thing for
Yeah.
you. Again, I'd like to thank my friends Raph and Micah for hanging out with us on this episode of the Man to Man podcast. A lot of good wisdom, a lot of good insight, a lot of good advice, hopefully, prayerfully, that was able to help you to be able to honor God in every single part of your life. Here's the thing, y'all. If this helps you in any type of way, especially if you're on the YouTube platform, you're watching the video, I want y'all to leave a comment, man. Maybe there's something that you have done in the past that has helped you during your dating relationship when it comes to travel and different things like that. We want to hear from you, so I want you to go ahead and leave a comment down below. And don't forget, if you're watching this or listening to this actually on iTunes or Spotify or any other audio platform, don't forget to give us a follow. Don't forget to leave a comment if you can. Don't forget to leave a review or whatever you need to do to show this podcast some love so that we can help men all over the world honor God in every single part of their lives. So we'd like to thank you again for checking out this episode of the Man to Man podcast. We'll catch you in the next one.